Good morning. Today is July the 6th of 2015. Welcome to the Real Talk with D. My name is Damian Carter on YouTube and Google+, Damian Pierre Carter on Facebook, and Supermodel Swagger on Instagram. Hope you had a wonderful 4th of July celebration should you decide to celebrate. This weekend, I was hanging out with an old buddy, and a conversation came up where we were talking about a lot of our mutual associates that I was once friends with that I no longer speak with. And as the night progressed, the list of people that I no longer speak to got much longer. And my buddy was asking me, wow, Damian, what's going on? Why are your friendships ending and why aren't you talking to any of these people anymore? So for the last 48 hours, I've been pondering why a lot of these friendships are ending and why my circle got smaller, which is the subject for today, why my circle got smaller. After much analysis, I realized a few things. One, a lot of the people in my circle where they signed up for lifetime commitment were not quite ready for what it means to be friends with me for a lifetime. Two, many of these friendships ended because as time changed, I changed, my priorities changed, my mindset changed, my habits changed, my priorities changed. But many of these friends that I had in my life thought that I was supposed to stay the same person that I was when I first met them. Now, let's go back 6 years. 6 years ago was a time period where I really understood what it means to struggle with certain things in life. And we won't go into those specific issues, but a good example was a friend of mine who thought I would always be there as his jump off, as his party animal, as his access to freedom that he didn't get while he was playing house with his boyfriend. Our friendship then changed when I realized that I no longer wanted to be that person for him, and I was no longer that person for him. And it got to the point where I no longer even wanted to be sexual or even kiss him. Okay? Good. Another example. 3 years ago, I mentioned to you all that I lost my place. I had nothing. I had no place to live, no food, no money. Didn't even know how I was going to get from one point, from picking up what I owned in my life that I could carry with me to transport it to the next place where I'd be sleeping that night. The friends that I had in my life at that time did not pick up their phones. In fact, many of them I had to determine over time were not good for me. I'm stuck on why a lot of these friendships changed, because it's like a few months ago, I read something on Facebook where they say as you get older, your circle gets smaller. But I didn't realize why my circle got smaller, because a lot of people expect you to stay in the same box that you're in when they first meet you. They have this certain role or certain label for you that they expect you to carry for the rest of their lives because they have given you that role or label and they want you not to deviate from it. Or even they expect you to always be that guy. They want you to be the one that is the one that gets the party started, the one that you can count on to come and fix things for them, the one that comes and bails them out of whatever. And I was that guy for many people. But let's be very honest. After much evaluation and much concern and much analysis, I realized as much of a giver in these friendships that I had become, I hadn't received anything in return. I hadn't received a return on my investment. I invest in all of my friendships. I invest in all of my relationships. Now at 35, I do. Back then, I can't say I always, back 9 years, six years ago plus, I can't say I always did that. But now, yes, I do. And when I started to demonstrate that level of investment, I realized that I was never going to get that same investment in return from many of those people. Now, when I talked to my buddy this weekend, I had to take account of how many people were actually on that list of people that I no longer speak to. And we reached up to 24 plus. So that means over 25 people are no longer in my life because I realized that I value myself too much to just stay in one box for you. And especially because you decided that you're not going to do anything beyond what you're doing, especially since you're not going to be a friend to me, I'm giving you permission to exit. And I'm not, and I've heard this statement even also this year. If I cut you off, it's the reason why I cut you off is because you gave me the scissors. I never had to cut many of these people off. In fact, this is how I handled many of these situations. When I realized that a lot of these friends were just hanging on to me for a specific purpose or personal gain or whatever the situation was at that time period, or however we established a friendship, I would point it out to them and say, our friendship is based on this factor, and this factor is no longer relevant to me in my lifetime. You now have permission to either adapt to who I am as a person now, or you can freely free yourself of this contract called friendship and seek someone else that can do that for you. And because of that option, many of those people have opted out of the friendship, therefore making my circle smaller and smaller and smaller. And you know what? Having that smaller circle can become very liberating, because you then have to no longer worry about the stress that comes with that friendship, especially knowing that you're going to be unfulfilled at the end of the day. And I encourage all of you to take time to think about all the people in your life that are like that. Do you have a contract of friendship where you're more stressed out than they are in terms of how you interact with each other? Are you really just, when you have a belief that they're going to be your ride or die and you're really more of the person that gets their ass to kiss? Think about it. Because at this point in my life, I always pondered having one of those friendships when I was younger, where I roll up to a person's house in a car and say, bitch, get in. I'll explain what the situation is when we get locked up. I want that kind of friendship, that kind of ride or die. I'm going to be there for you. Or not even to that extreme, just a thing where I'm having a situation and I'm having a situation and I need you to help me process it. I've been that kind of person to everyone. And some people are grateful and are still around for me because I have been there for them. Now, those people who do not realize that kind of dynamic or requirement for me in my life right now have excused themselves as well. And I thank you. I'm not going to go into naming names because I've gone on this blog and I've named so many different people. I'm not in the mood to even discuss those people anymore because they're no longer relevant to me. But basically, the whole premise of this is this. My circle got smaller because I got wiser. My eyes got opened. As I get older, I'm seeing what I need to see. I'm learning what I need to learn, and I'm growing from it. Not many people can take your growth as a person. Not many people can take you in general. And in fact, most people can't take me. In fact, some people, you just have to look at them and say, you just can't take it. You're just an overgrown orangutan. Meaning, that's a Paris is Burning reference, y'all. Get into it. That means that you have to let them know that they no longer have a space in your life because you've realized what space they've given you, which is minimal, if not deficient. If they can't accept that and are willing to adapt, they will make the changes without you asking. If they can't take the heat, they'll step out the kitchen and you have a place for another cook. That's really all I have to say today. That's the real talk for today, July 6th of 2015. My name is Damian Carter on YouTube and Google+, Damian Pierre Carter on Facebook, and Supermodel Swagger on Instagram. Be fierce, be fabulous, and be inspired. If no one told you today that they love you, know that I do. I gotta get ready for work now, so for those of you who live in Washington, D.C., I'll see you on the runway. Let's stomp the catwalk together. Be well.